this year.
Leave sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There appears to be none. It can be tabled. Question number 9, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Revenue.
Order.
What reports has he seen regarding his proposal to apply fringe benefit tax to employee car parks in the Auckland and Wellington CBD?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Revenue, if I could just address the member, I have received a number of reports. Oh, thank you.
Order. If the Minister would proceed with the answer, please.
I've received a number of reports.
Point of order. Point of order. Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not offended by the Minister having trouble seeing the questioner, but he wouldn't look at the Minister sitting next to him.
No, that's not a point of order. But it's a good example of how orders can come if the Minister doesn't get on with the job of answering the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the Minister of Revenue, I've received a number of reports from Inland Revenue and Treasury tax officials on the proposals leading up to and following the consultation paper recognising salary trade officers' income, which I note for the benefit of the member in the House was released back in April 2012. Policy consideration of this issue began, in fact, in 2010. The review was part of a package of base broadening and integrity measures, which included other matters such as the treatment of mixed-use assets and widening the income definition for social assistance purposes. As the member will be aware, the bill is currently before a select committee and the government will carefully consider the committee's report to the House.
Supplementary question. Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, to the Minister of Revenue, does he agree with analysis by independent accounting firm Locke and Partners that shows that the compliance cost of collecting his car park tax is over $30 million per annum, about double the revenue that the IRD suggests it would collect?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, it's fair to say I think the report is perhaps a bit of a stretch in its estimate of compliance costs.
We have a point of order from
Mr. Speaker, to assist the Minister, he was asked as Minister of Revenue, but he's replying on behalf of a different minister. Perhaps, sir, he's confused or would like to start
he is to answer the question on behalf of the Minister of Revenue. Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Can I thank that member for his assistance and say that my view is that perhaps that the numbers on the report by the member raises perhaps a bit of a stretch, indicating that there's a cost of $5,000 per annum for medium businesses and $8,000 per annum for large businesses and compliance costs. But nevertheless, officials have been asked by the Finance and Expenditure Committee to look at compliance cost issues, and certainly it would be unreasonable to have a tax if the compliance costs are very high. So once again, we look forward to the response from the Select Committee.
Honourable David Cunliffe.
To the Minister of Revenue, given these compliance burdens, why did he break John Key's pledge to, quote, not entertain suggestions of applying FBT to on-premises car parks, close quote, and, quote, to remove a substantial amount of paperwork from the FBT system, close quote? Or does he agree with Finance Minister Bill English that Mr. Key's promise is now worthless because, quote, the tax environment has changed, close quote?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Revenue, I would say that I think a fair amount has changed since that statement was made. Back in April 2005, which was when Don Brash was leader of the National Party, since that time we have had 3 leaders of the Labor Party and maybe a 4th leader of the Labor Party, depending on the next move by that.
That doesn't help the answer. Further supplementary. Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, does he agree with commentator Vernon Small that the car park tax is one of, quote, a series of petty tax increases that are more about the elusive budget surplus than fairness and good tax design, and includes measures like the paperboy tax, increased prescription charges, increased petrol excise, student loan costs, and his equally popular proposals to tax private cell phone use and accommodation for rebuild workers in Christchurch?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Revenue, that's a very long question, but in terms of the characterisation reported by the eminent Dr. Small, the issue in regards to fairness is actually quite an interesting one, because I think the officials can make the case that this actually would create more fairness, because currently different types of car parks in cities are treated in different ways. But nevertheless, the compliance costs are important things. So in fact, I think if the government chose not to go ahead, it would actually be, I think, characterised as not particularly fair in relation to different car parks. But of course, practicality comes into it as well, and that's why we're watching closely to see the outcome of the Select Committee's deliberations.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, does the Minister of Revenue consider that he can now continue in his portfolio, given that there are reports that, quote, National Party officials at the very highest levels, close quote, have told media that they are, quote, trying to shift the heat to done, and that this is a blatant abrogation of the confidence and supply agreement with United Future, which demands, and I quote, confidentiality, collective responsibility and recognition of his position as Minister of Revenue, close quote.
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Revenue, I think there's an old statement about being half of what you hear and a third of what you see, and I think it would apply in this particular instance.
Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table analysis by independent chartered accountants Locke & Partners showing that the compliance cost of this tax is twice the revenue that it would raise.
Is it available publicly? I suspect it's
not publicly, sir.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? No, there is none.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table a copy of the confidence and supply agreement between the Minister of Revenue's party
that is
and the
certainly
National
available.
Party. Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table this rather endearing little moniker, no car park tax, stop John Key's 50% car park tax.
That's not necessary to inform the House.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, this is not yet readily available. I understand there are...
It's equally... Order, the member will resume his seat. Order, and it will not be tabled either. Question number 10, Shane Arden.